Okay, are we? I think so. Good morning, beloveds. If I'm a little bleary-eyed, I had a good weekend. I went and worked out at fair on Saturday, and then a friend of mine gave me tickets to the King's Feast on Sunday. So Tom and I went out and played on Sunday, and we probably spent too much money, but it is what it is. And the show was really good. The King's Feast show was really good. Food was a little skimpy, but it was still good. Just a little skimpy, but yeah. So, and I know that I went down according to my Fitbit, I went down at 10:15 last night. We woke up at 1:30 in the morning on the couch and went, I guess we should go to bed now. So, okay. So, but I had the forethought to go ahead and pre-program today's thing so I didn't have to do anything. We are doing Your Spiritual Power. Let's do the housekeeping. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact email, info@creativelife.org. If you will email that, it gets you one email a week that tells you what's going on for the week and the month, and the hot links are hot. It is also a blind CC, which means you won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us, because nobody's going to see your email. All right. I'm also going to mention the social medias briefly, merely from the standpoint of we do not monetize them. We don't pay them to bump us in the algorithm. We don't ask you to give us money through them. So what we ask you to do then is instead engage with the pages. If you will like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you are on, and then engage with the individual post by reacting to the post, commenting on the post, and sharing the post, that will bump us in the algorithms. More people see our stuff. So it is a free and easy way that you can support the center. So, and all it costs you is a click. All right. Oh, and I should tell you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark, and I am running Rev Ryan across the social medias that I am on. Like, if you wonder where these go to live after Facebook deletes them, I moved them to the Running Rev Ryan YouTube channel. So you can go there and see what I've been up to. Also, I'm currently working on a project since Jesse's doing a class/book study on Emma Curtis Hopkins. And there's apparently not an audible version of that. I'm also doing that. So I have to read the chapter anyway. I might as well read it out loud to you, right? So you can go to either channel, the Creative Life Spiritual Center or the Running Rev Ryan YouTube channel, and listen to Emma. 3 chapters are up. We're going to do 6 weeks, and then we're going to take 3 weeks off. So I might try and get ahead on that 3-week break. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens, because it takes an hour to read each one of those chapters. She's kind of intense. All right. Now, Your Spiritual Power is a collection. This is a library of books. It is a series of other works that were kind of rare other places. Now, we happen to be doing Living Without Fear, which, like Discover a Richer Life, is a collection of Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind articles from the magazine, which is really cool. That's why they have a different tone, where it sounds like he's talking more directly to you. So that's really neat. And we are about to start part 2, Growing from Fear into Freedom. And this is the intro to that. Ever since the first cell of life appeared on this planet, there has been a continual upward spiral of growth and development. Many manifest forms of life appear to have had a purposive, directive factor behind them. I swear to you, Ernest makes up words. The directive factor seems to have had a culmination in humanity, and even humanity in the present physical state, no doubt, will still have future refinements. Now, I might disagree with Ernest right there. I don't think we are the pinnacle of evolution. Because that tends to put us outside of nature rather than in nature. Like dolphins are wicked smart too. So, I might quibble with him there. I know David LeMaster would quibble with him there. All right, but that's neither here nor there. We have discovered much about the physical aspects of living things, things. But about that apparently unique phenomenon in humanity, their mind, we still have much to learn. Again, like I said, I don't think we're unique. I think dolphins have the sense not to talk to us. But again, what is it, what it can do, and the potentialities latent in it are hardly yet recognized. However, the appearance of mind in humanity, in a person, the ability to think, is the most recent and cumulative expression of the purposive action of life. Again, I think he's making up words there. It would appear that for the most part, humanity is still in their infancy in developing the use of their mind. The mind has been given to us, but what happens to its growth and development is largely an individual undertaking. Ours is the responsibility to use it and unleash its limitless possibilities. I'm getting caught up in my P words here. It is in our proper use of the potentialities of the mind that rests our power to release ourselves from fear and discover a new freedom for expressing and experiencing that greater joy of living, which is rightfully ours. All right. So the first article in the book, in this part, is unlimited growth. All right. The history of humanity is a record of the awakening of the self to the self, lowercase to uppercase, the emergence of the universal spirit through the individual mind. It is as though we have been pushed from the center of all things and must make the return journey through self-discovery. Alrighty then. The greatest lesson in spiritual education ever taught, the story of the prodigal son, was given to illustrate this idea. A person's primal existence was originally an idea within the universal mind, which became individualized as humanity. A person expresses through personality, possesses free will for the end purpose that they may choose to return to the spirit's house. Then they no longer are just an expression of God, but become a co-partner with the infinite. So we have to leave the house to come into our full power by coming back to the house. That's what it sounds like he's saying to me. They will still be subject to the laws of love and of reason, but at the same time is dependently independent. That is dependent on the universal, but independent in it. All right. That's interesting. I'll have to think about that phrase. We should deeply ponder the significance of this thought, for it gives the assurance that our future evolution will not be by compulsion, but by cooperation. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the children of God. The whole history of human evolution proves this position. Natural forces undreamed of in previous ages are, today, part of every person's experience. And since we cannot have exhausted the infinite, we must conclude that the future holds undreamed of things for us. It is significant to remember that since the first person turned their face from the clod, rose to their feet, and proclaimed, "I am," the universe has silently awaited their conscious cooperation with it. This awakening has ever found its starting point in mental states or modes of thought. It is the mind that awakens. From the dawn of human history until today, this inner awareness has produced a steady and unbroken sequence of accomplishment and progress. And while there have been periods when this evolution appears to have stopped, to stop or to be broken. It has always started fresh and new. Glancing back over the whole panorama of human existence, we cannot fail to see a steady advance. Looking then into the possibility inherent in the future and judging the future by the past, we cannot fail to see the necessity of eternal progress. I don't know. It's kind of one of those situations where I kind of wish that Ernest was here now so that we could ask him how he feels about what's going on now. But he would be optimistic about it. He would be saying, well, this is just one of those periods where it looks like it's broken, but we'll get back on track. Don't worry about it. That's from the way he writes. That's the sense of, I have the feeling that that's what he would say. But that's me putting words in his mouth. So that's my opinion. The natural order of evolution has brought us to a place where there is a quickening of the spirit, a keener perception of the mind, a deeper introspection of the soul. The veil between spirit and matter is thinning. We are emerging into a spiritual universe, proclaiming alike that the philosopher, the religionist, the scientist, and the idealist, and yet the nature of reality or the ultimate truth cannot have changed. I'm not sure that we're emerging into a spiritual universe. I think what we're doing is we're noticing that we live in a spiritual universe. The awakening is to the mind and spirit, and from this, 2 and 2 were 4 1 million years ago. The awakening is to the mind and spirit, and from this mental and spiritual awakening follow objective equivalence. As the last 100 years has witnessed the unfoldment of physical sciences through the consciousness of humanity, so it has witnessed a great awakening of the mind to itself. The passing of the old orders of thought is but a proclamation of the inauguration of the new and higher orders. The unraveling of psychology, the birth of modern metaphysics, the enlarging of religious concepts, the inquiry into philosophic problems all announce a new birth of the mind, a new discovery of the self, a new consciousness of the intimacy of the mind with the subtle spirit within. I might also suggest, based on what he just said here, is that basically we got started, we got scared, we've backtracked a little bit, and so hence, living without fear, that there are enough of us that are not scared. And so we continue to push forward. So eventually we're going to drag the rest of the minds with us. But, we'll see. Yeah, I agree. Thank you. He did live through World War II. So I think he's an optimist. And I think he thinks that we'll get through this. We just gotta get through it. And like I said, there's enough of us who are going to continue to push this. We've got to do our own work. That's the only thing we can do. We got to do our own work, and we'll just drag the rest of them with us. So, okay. We shall never know any God greater than the God which our inner consciousness proclaims, for the reason that this inner proclamation is the spirit within us. That silent voice, that divine urge, that insistent demand made upon our minds is the original spirit. The impulse back of our constructive acts is the original creative genius of the universe, flowing through the channels of the inner perception in our own minds. Within us, this cause, perennial in its eternal youth, is ever born anew into creation. Whew, okay. I like that one. I'm going to keep that one. Okay. There appears to be one persistent purpose behind the great forward movement of evolution, namely the outpush of intelligence through creation into higher finer, and more complex forms. This is one great lesson which science teaches us, that there is an insistent and intelligent urge in the life principle which impels it to express, and theologically, we might add that it expresses in order that it may become conscious of itself in many forms. And there's a whole lot of religions that would back that up. All right. Theoretically, then, we may believe that the spirit is forever clothing itself in form. It is not only its desire to do this, but by very reason of its nature, it must take form. If we were to ask our imagination why this is so, the answer might be that God itself would remain a non-entity unless it were expressed. That even to the infinite, some form of creative action and expression is necessary. Okay. If we were to further inquire of our imagination what the ultimate purpose of evolution is, the most logical answer it could give would be the purpose of life is to produce beings who can consciously cooperate with it. That through such cooperation, the evolving principle itself may more completely express. And I've said that before, that everybody's like talking about their purpose. What is your purpose in life? The simple answer is your purpose in life is to express life. Period. That's it. What you do with that, that's your gift back to the divine. It takes a whole lot of pressure off of you when you realize that your purpose is simply to express life. That's it. Okay. Turning from fancy to fact, we find the facts fitting nicely into the fancy. Okay. I'm sorry. That was just really funny. We feel justified in starting with the assumption that all creation exists for the purpose of spiritual self-expression, and that humanity, I don't agree with him that humanity is the apex of creation of this planet, but he said it, so I'm going to go with it. Okay. That humanity, is the apex creation on this planet, has already reached a place in its evolution where they may consciously cooperate with the Creator. The God-intended person may be... Wait, hang on. What the God-intended person may be, no one knows, but judging... Okay, come on. But judging the possibilities of humanity's future evolution by the past, we may rightly suppose that this possibility reaches out and into its limitless fields of self-expression. Humanity, humanity as we know it, is incomplete, and those vague feelings and subtle senses of interior awareness which arise within them are gentle but persistent prophecies of still greater achievements. Okay. Gentle but persistent. In other words, that little itch that we have, that's what he's talking about. That itch. It's like, there's something more. We'll get there. There's something more. But it's a divine itch. Okay. The path of progress seems to be persistent and must be eternal. We cannot doubt that the God-intended person will fulfill the most cherished desire of our imaginations. It is not of great importance to humanity's future. Okay, hang on. Let me try that again. It's not of great importance to a person's future what processes they may have gone through to arrive at the present place, although it is of great interest and of scientific value to know of their development from the first form of life to the present state. The real problem that now confronts us is not what we once may have been, but where shall we go from here? Where shall we go from here? Peace, I hope. All right. A person is a self-conscious, individualized center of volition, will, and choice merged into personality. The more deeply we penetrate the nature, the more significant becomes the meaning of that nature. It seems fathomless, boundless, and almost entirely unexplored. If we start with the theory of an infinite potential latent within them, that they have already reached a point in their development where their own conscious determination must, to a great degree, measure the possibilities of their future unfoldment, we shall recognize this most significant fact. Our future progress depends upon our ability to consciously cooperate with nature and its laws, and consciously identify ourselves with the spirit of intelligence animating nature. So in other words, we've got to do both. We've got to identify with the divine and yet still play by the rules of nature. We're not going to get a pass on the rules of nature. We're not going to get a pass on the rules of nature. Yeah. Nope. Okay. We got about a page left. Oh yeah. Okay. There is an inner urge in our minds to grow, to expand, to break down the barriers of previous limitations, and to ever widen our experience. This persistent urge is a divine influence, an irresistible force, and constitutes the greatest impulse in human experience. The mostly misinterpreted and misunderstood, and often pursuing devious pathways, it is still the urge back of all accomplishment, the promise of all fulfillment. There is this question, however, which naturally arises. Why all the suffering, sorrow, and pain? Why has tragedy accompanied the journey of humanity? Again, our imagination may answer this question in a somewhat plausible manner. There is no other way through which true individuality can evolve. Humanity must be let alone to discover itself, else be compelled arbitrarily to follow one road, in which case they would be an automaton and not an individual. So it's that free will thing. We create our own suffering because it's almost like we can't help it. Because if we were programmed not to, we would be programmed, and we are not. All right. Perhaps this will solve the whole problem of evil in human experience, and at the same time point to a better way, that learning to consciously cooperate with nature and its laws, that of learning. Okay. This, the scientist is already learning to do. This, the religionist must also learn to do. Life is not really against us, but for us. For we cannot imagine a universe divided against itself, but ignorance of the law excuses no one from its effects. Yep. We are now equipped with sufficient intelligence to gain the necessary knowledge for our future growth. We must free ourselves from superstition, fear, and uncertainty, and ever seek the inner guidance of that intelligent purposefulness, which has already projected itself into our form and into our creative imagination. Listening deeply to this inner revealer, we shall find our footsteps more and more continuously guided. We are beneficiaries of the universe, of the universal, or, if we wish to state it another way, children of God. And that sustaining infinite, that originating cause, that divine intelligence, which has brought us to this point, to be trusted. But we must learn how to make our thought receptive to it. Thus shall we learn to take part in creating our own destiny, to rejoice in the accomplishment already made, and to look forward to a future bright with hope, filled with limitless possibilities, animated by the divine purpose, coordinated by a sustaining unity, illumined by the eternal presence of intelligence, wisdom, and right action. And tomorrow, we will think constructively, literally. All right. I do need to wrap this up because I do get to work a couple of days this week. Actually, 3.5 days this week. So I'm going to wrap this up by encouraging you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a take care of business day, a you got this day, a enjoy the weather day. We're hoping for a break in the weather because the high today is going to be 84. And on Wednesday, the high is going to be 70. Like, we're 13 degrees above. Blah. So, but rain is coming. So we're going to dance in the rain day. A we got this day. A cuddle your fur babies day. A drink plenty of water day. A do what you got to do day. A don't forget to check your grocery list day. Thanksgiving is coming day. A good day. And if that's too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough. Just as you are. You're a beloved expression of the divine. As he said, children of God. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action, a beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. So explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. It's all the divine knows. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9-ish tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.